in motion. Let's let a couple people trickle in here, and then I'm bringing y'all to the stage. All right, broadcast is live on X, live on Twitch, and live on YouTube. Perfect. All righty. Let's get some folks in here. Yo, what's up, buds? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. We got a banger startup coming on the stream today. How you doing, brother? Appreciate you hanging out today. Yo, what's up, bro? How you feeling? We're chatting with a dope startup. I'm gonna share some details before we get started. Oh my God, is this how you know I've been having a technical difficulty style day? I haven't even gotten my background ready. You guys know I'm a Spirited Away fan, so I always put Spirited Away in the background, just running on autopilot. But yes, I'm excited for this conversation because I love everything that is like weird tech, deep tech, odd tech, things that like on the surface, they don't feel vibe codable because everything feels like it's being vibe coded. So we have two incredibly talented founders coming on Vesting today to stake their mark on the show. And I'm excited. This is probably like one of their first interviews. So I always feel like every time I get a dope founder that comes on, I'm like, damn, I'm early to their $1 billion company. Like I'm getting in at the ground floor and you guys get to get it alongside me. So what's up, Niam? Welcome to the stream. Welcome back with another episode of Vesting. And today we are chatting with, a cool company. Let me show y'all a little something real quick. Y'all know I got these transitions. We're chatting with Axion Orbital Space. I'm a space junkie, so this is like right up my alley. And this is the first time on the show. We got both founders backstage. We have both founders backstage. And I hope I'm not like butchering names. Atharva, and Dehinenjay. Dehinenjay, or it's Dehinenjay or Dehinenjay. You're gonna have to tell me what it is. But without further ado, welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you guys coming on. Welcome, Axion Orbital Space, to Vesting. It is a pleasure to have you on the stream. I know you're busy in SF. I know you're selling. I know you got investor conversations. I know it's a busy time to be a startup founder at Y Combinator. So I appreciate you guys coming on the stream. And I need to know, did I butcher any names?
Little bit, but yeah, it's okay.
All right, you got to give me the correct pronunciation. I apologize. I've only had one cup of coffee today.
You can just call me DJ. Like that's my
I love that. DJ.
Yeah.
So DJ, did I butcher? Is it Arthava?
Atharva. Yeah, you said it perfectly the first time. Okay,
I'm 1 for 2. I'm 50%. That works in any sporting industry. That 50% is not bad. You would just fail the test, you know. That's besides the point. I appreciate you guys coming on. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Yep.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Dope. Man, it is a pleasure to have you on. I haven't got around to ranking you guys in YC yet, and you might need to. I think your mic might be coming in a little bit low, so you might have to turn it up. Just giving you fair warning because I know the chat might bark at me. But it is a pleasure having you guys on. I'm excited to learn more about what you're building because it's not a straightforward company. It's something that's difficult. And going into when you're building something difficult, my first thought process is always like, if we go back to the beginning, before the Y Combinator days, to like your backgrounds and your origin stories, like what would they be? Give me the quick backgrounds of who is DJ and who is Artharva.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm DJ. I'm the CEO of the company. I was a machine learning researcher at India Space Agency. There I saw that all the obstructions caused by physical objects like clouds to satellite observation and Earth observation. And then I recently left my job, came to the US to start this company. Then I was writing a paper. So initially we were building cursor for GIS, but
Hmm.
then we realized that that industry was, yeah, like not very big, not venture scalable. So I just made everything open source. Then Atharva, on the other hand, was doing his PhD
Yeah.
in biomedical research, and then I was publishing a research paper. I sent it over to Atharva, and yeah, Atharva would continue now.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Atharva and I'm the CTO. And like Dhananjay said, I finished my undergrad in India during the COVID, and the best part was that at the time I got an opportunity to intern first at McGill University, and then I interned at Harvard, where I was working at the intersection of computer vision and biomedical image analysis. And then I came to the US for my PhD in computer science at the University of
Jesus, you're
Colorado.
locked in.
So yeah, that was at the intersection of computer vision again and medical imaging. So we were making digital twins of humans for radiation therapy.
Yeah. And then we went to this conference, or you can say an event during Tech Week in SF, where we met folks at NASA and other kind
Yeah.
of places like Planet Labs. And they were discussing that the weather is now becoming unpredictable. Now we need to send another constellation of satellites into space just to increase the probability of getting a cloud free image. And then we thought, like, instead of sending satellites, is there a software solution to this problem, which everyone else is treating like a hardware problem?
Yeah.
So initially, then yeah, like we were speaking to a couple of friends of ours, and we realized radar. That radar uses microwaves, and it can go through clouds, pretty much every kind of weather that comes in, and even during night. So we thought, like Atharva at that moment was working on CT2 ultrasound scans, all those kind of different modalities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had explored all of those models that could convert your MRI scans to CT and vice versa, mainly because so that you introduce less radiation to the human body and still get the CT scan output from MRIs. So luckily that's the principle that actually applied very well to what we are doing currently, because we are still translating SAR imagery into optical imagery. So it's like, yeah, those ideas pulled in from a different domain applied very perfectly to what we are doing right now.
Yeah, and then we started building on models, and then we applied to YC, and we were actually rejected in the current batch.
Really? Wait. So you didn't get in initially, and then did you like have to? Did you like have to reapply to the same batch, or did they just like call you later and say, "Hey, we fucked up. Like, we
So,
actually
so
do
yeah,
want you."
so yeah, it was pretty experimental because no one was doing that. Like a couple of labs from NASA, ESA, IBM have tried, but they weren't able to get the accuracy, like SSIM numbers that's acceptable commercially. That was just like an experiment. So we applied, we built a model. It was not very good. Then we applied to IC. We had the due diligence phase for a couple of weeks, and then we got the rejection in an email saying that you guys are a research lab instead of a startup. And we were like, damn, that's just crazy. And after that, we just spoke to them.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I thought y'all wanted
yeah,
research labs. What the fuck you mean? We're just a research lab.
yeah. And then we, yeah, spoke to a couple of IC alums. We got a compute loan from one of the alums, and we trained the model again,
Yeah.
like a very experimental model on the same principles of CD scans. And that actually worked. Like we got our outputs almost 100x better. And it was actually a diffusion model, which worked like a GAN, like in one shot, it did everything. So we sent those outputs back to our YC partner. On Thanksgiving Day, we spammed them, and they were like, "Okay, guys," and they replied at 11 during the night of Thanksgiving. They were like,
Yeah.
"Okay, let's talk on Monday," and yeah, that's how we got the re-interview. And meanwhile, we also got a contract, and then we got jumped on the re-interview, and we got in. So
Wait, so
yeah.
so you landed a contract while you were still trying to get in, and then I guess at that point, that was like the home run. They were like, "Damn, we got to let these guys in. Like, it would be a disservice to us to like not have them in the batch."
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, I would look back and say we sort of got pretty lucky during that week. I mean, we were working hard, but I think we got equally lucky. And then on Monday, it was like probably the first time, at least our partner told us, is this was probably the first time that he has actually reversed a rejection.
Yeah.
And taken a company back into the batch after rejecting it, and he was like, okay. He invited us over a Zoom call, and he was like, "Well, how would you like to join the Winter 26 batch?"
Yeah.
This is
So
like
yeah,
the first story I've heard of like a team getting rejected and then like getting rejected in a batch and then getting re-accepted or getting accepted in that same batch.
Yeah.
yep.
So just one more thing before we jump to like Axion Orbital at scale. I want to know, like, when you were thinking about you writing this research paper, DJ, and you're like, I think there might be something here. You sent it to Artharva. Like, what prompted you to write this research paper? Were you always interested in like this sort of a thing? Maybe you weren't. I don't know. But like, what was your whole like intrigue behind this?
Yeah, so I was like initially, as you already know, like I was working on Cursor for GIS. Then one day, Google released its model called Alpha Earth, and I was like I just saw that it was pretty interesting. Then simultaneously, IBM and ESA came up with another model called Pyramid,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, like there are a couple of inefficiencies in these training methods. Maybe if I can solve them. Then I built a new kind of decoder architecture for these kind of models for segmentation and classification, and it outperformed every single model out there that exists right now. And I thought, damn, if my decoder framework worked. By the way, that paper is probably gonna get accepted in the upcoming CVPR. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I thought like if the decoder worked, maybe now we should start training encoders. So I just emailed Atharva. Atharva was actually an angel investor in my last startup, an
Yeah.
advisor, and friend as well. Like we used to do a lot of hackathons. So I just sent it over, and I was a solo founder back then. So I just sent him, and we got on a call, and I was just telling him like, dude, it's so hard. Can you just drop out of your PhD? And he was like, let me just think about it. And then this guy dropped out of his PhD in fourth year.
That's crazy. When you were
On
thinking
my
about
end,
dropping out, like, what was the thought process? Was it like, oh shit, like, I can't let this opportunity to pass up? Like, what was your thought process?
I would say, I mean, the opportunity sort of came at the right time because, like he said, he was already working on a paper independently. He sent it to me, but the thing was like, over the past few months, given that the new faculty that was joining our university, I had sort of started exploring this entire area of Earth observation, remote sensing on the side. So just like reading papers, and I got pretty interested in that while I was still doing my main PhD project. And then he reached out to me. He was like, "This is a great opportunity. How about we work on this?" And I was like, "Wow, that's the perfect timing for this opportunity because I was already reading it. I was interested in it,
Mhm.
and then dropping out part was really scary at first. I would say it's like, okay,
Yeah.
wow, that because I'm 4 years in, I've
Yeah.
already worked on the project plus, well, Indian parents, so it's like it's
Oh
hard to
my god.
convince.
To be like, hey, I'm quitting school for like, I don't know if I'll go back, but I'm quitting for now. They're probably like looking at you fucking crazy. Like, what do you mean you're quitting?
But
Yeah.
that's one thing, and the second one was like, I've known Dhananjay for a while now, so it was like I knew that we complement each other very well. So it's like we have complementary skills. I was like, let's take this leap of faith and let's just go all in on
Yeah.
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And then, by the way, like it was pretty scary for him because he's an international student,
That is
and like he dropped out of his F1 visa. Now he's on a B1, trying his O1. So yeah, like yeah,
sort of transitioning through all types of
visas.
US
Oh my
visas.
gosh. So like, I mean, this
Yeah.
is like, you got to be compelled to be able to take that risk. But that takes me into the thing you're taking the risk on. Axon Orbital Space, a YC Winter 26 company. You find this incredible breakthrough training models, and now you think you can unblock the sun in a sense. I love the term unblock the sun because it's almost like unblocking satellites from being covered by cloud cover, you know, to be able to get data. Like, can you just kind of give me an idea of what makes this compelling? Like, what are we missing out here? What are people not understanding about observing and how you can train models when you have additional data that go beyond the clouds?
Yeah. So the thing is like we are now at a point where everyone is now thinking about the lower Earth orbit. People like Philip from StarCloud, Google are now sending data centers in space. So the whole orbit is now saturated with satellites, data centers. Now startups are coming up to clear up space debris. So we thought like now the whole orbit is stressed up. We need to send more and more optical satellites to increase the probability of taking a cloud-free image. And like FYI, all these optical satellites are blind during night as well. So they're only functional during the
Mm.
day. We thought like can you build can we use existing different modalities of satellites to just generate optical images instead of sending a real optical satellite in space.
Yeah.
So then we figured synthetic aperture radar works 24/7. It's very hard to interpret, very hard for even computer vision models. It's very hard to interpret. So we
Yeah.
thought instead of training military models, hedge funds have these kind of models on SAR data. What if we can just build a model which can just generate really high resolution optical images, which are not hallucinating because the kind of method that we use it is grounded in physics. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so just like you said, so I would say our goal was to democratize 24 by 7 visibility on the planet for almost everyone. So like you said, so the SAR data, it was until now restricted to defense applications, certain hedge funds, because that is a kind of data that requires expert analysts to actually make sense of it.
Yeah.
So we are now able to make that accessible to almost everyone.
Yep.
When you think about kind of the landscape of what you're doing in some place, it's always night somewhere, meaning that these orbital satellites are losing coverage. I guess my question from here would be, do you guys put satellites up, like new satellites up in the sky, or are you using existing infrastructure that exists up there? Like, how do you see this kind of playing out?
Yeah, so right now our models are constellation agnostic. So they work with every single star provider out there, like Umbra, ISI, I would say PureSight, all these kind of companies. And yes, there are regions, especially in the Nordic regions, which are like we don't get sunlight much during the year. So they're pretty much non-observable right now, but we enable that as well with our models. So yeah, right now we are using existing satellites. Maybe in the future we'll be launching some.
Yeah, I'm trying to see y'all on a SpaceX rocket. You know what I'm saying? I need to see you put something up there too. But with the software, right? Like, let's say I'm a company that has these satellites in the sky, and I'm like, man, I'm losing coverage, et cetera, et cetera. What does the process look like to get your product integrated, or how do you see the process looking?
So right now, what we usually do is if it's a SAR constellation provider, we just give them we just ask them like what kind of specifications do you need. So the whole purpose is we just send them our model checkpoints and
Mhm.
scripts that directly integrates into their environments. And right now they can so they can just broaden their use cases. Right
Yeah.
now it's limited to very specific use cases, but as you convert that into optical, it becomes a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, second thing is for optical providers, because they are losing coverage during night through clouds, we can just build models for them to gap fill during night and even through clouds. So instead of giving no observations to their clients, they can just use our models, deploy them, and use it right away. Like it's plug in, like just yeah,
Mhm.
straight away. Yeah.
A quick interesting add-on to this
Yeah.
is like today we just like provide our models to these companies, either to deploy on premises or access to it via API. Near future direction for this is to shrink our models enough so that they
Mhm.
could be deployed directly on the satellites. And so for SAR providers, that would mean is you capture SAR data for a particular area, you convert that to optical on your satellite, and then stream that back to Earth.
Yeah.
So that's a near future direction to follow for us at least.
Yeah.
When you think about, like, and I'm guessing this, for me, this seems like something that would cost a lot of money. How much money, like from a total addressable market, how much money do satellite providers and people who are pushing things into space that need that sort of coverage, like, how big is this industry?
I would say this is $1 trillion industry because every small optical constellation costs around 500 million, just a couple of satellites. So right now we can just replace them with $1 million model. That's it.
Yep.
And you could just charge that, like, you could charge that on almost like a monthly $1 million subscription of like, hey, you're getting all access coverage to see everything on Earth, and it'll just cost you a cool 1 million per month.
Exactly. Right now, we're having an exclusive offer where we just charge around $50,000 a month.
Oh, that's nice of you. That's sweet.
Yeah.
When you think about kind of the decision making around, you know, space brings this entire new industry, and especially for Axion Orbital, you guys are taking on a very, it's like funny. Space is probably like a niche industry, and then you're taking on like a niche within a niche industry. When you think about productizing this across like a wide range of companies and how you continue to win this niche, because undoubtedly you're probably like the first doing this, or maybe the furthest along, but there are going to be other people that eventually do come in. When you think about like where your product needs to go to be able to service the overall capacity that's going to be needed as people continue to push things into space, where do you think you need?
I would say right now we're focusing on defense, intelligence, hedge funds. So the thing about space industry is it's hard.
Yeah.
There are a lot of players. Like if you go to one customer, they'll need something, and the other one would need something else, even though they are the same ICP. When we speak to hedge funds, what one hedge fund would need some analytic, even if they are doing the same kind of you can say systematic strategy. And if you go to another one, they would say I need different kind of analytics. So it's like if you talk to different customers, everyone has their own niche needs, stuff like that. But we figure that right now we can serve defense folks because that's not very heterogenic, and hedge
Yeah.
funds. Those are the two things we're targeting on. And real estate, like that's a pretty new
That's
ICP that we unlocked by going to a conference recently. So yeah.
We're
and
going to
adding
touch.
on.
Go ahead.
Oh, oh yeah, adding on to him is like already we are looking towards multiple industries that could benefit from this, and like you said, so there eventually other people will come in. I think our strategy is probably to get the most accurate model out there, because again, a lot of people are gonna probably enter out with more generative models
Mhm.
that will probably hallucinate, and the industries that we plan to serve can't risk any
Yep.
hallucinations in there. So currently our models out. Going forward, we need to make it better by incorporating physical properties of the SAR image into our models as well. So
Yeah, and our mode will be defense and intelligence because we are going to train on those kind of terrains that I cannot reveal right now. But yeah,
No, we're going to touch on this. We're going to touch on a little bit more in a later stage, because I want to know more about how hedge funds and Earth observability interconnect from a money making standpoint. But I want to switch gears and talk about you guys' experience after getting rejected and upset and then accepted into Y Combinator. What has been your earliest reaction to being a part of this Winter 26 batch? How's it felt?
I mean, so yeah, definitely the experience after getting rejected and accepted was great. I personally was speechless, so that's it. After entering into the batch, we it's been about what 2 3 weeks now, and I see I can't even tell it's 2 or 3 weeks because has flown by so
yeah,
quickly. And I've met great and very ambitious founders around here. I think if I probably wouldn't have been able to, or the Ninja wouldn't have been able to keep up this amount of progress if we weren't surrounded by these many ambitious people and partners who sort of pushing us every day. So I can safely say that we are probably in our most productive stage right now of building and selling
Yeah.
that than we'll probably ever be
yeah,
pre-YC or post-YC.
yeah. Even I would add like this is the most talent dense community that I've ever seen. Like different researchers, engineers, folks who have worked in various industries that we never even heard of. So yeah, like we get to learn a lot, and we have this thing called group office hours where
Yeah.
everyone like sets their targets, and when we see other people's targets, we're like, yeah, we have to level up as well. So yeah, like the awesome community, like yeah, like yeah.
You talked about like the productivity gap or boost that you get from being a part of the batch. When you think about kind of what the next 3 to 6 months look like for you guys as a company, what do you want to look back at Y Combinator and feel like you got out of the experience?
Um,
I think one out of the Y Combinator experience, I would say is just like grind as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day, because the ultimate goal is to just sort of keep maintaining the speed that you started with, just like keep going with that. And I think out of the Y Combinator experience, apart from that, one thing that we've learned so far is both of us are very technical folks. So it's
Yeah.
like it's during the batch that we are sort of learning how to sell stuff. And
Yeah.
then like into enterprises, it's even more difficult because you're talking to people who will have like large contracts coming in, but again, they're going to pull their entire contract cycle over months. So it's like how to navigate all of those things, what to say in a sales pitch.
Yeah.
So things like
Yeah, like after 6 months, I'm probably gonna look back and I would be like, yeah, like Tyler used to tell us a lot of stuff. Tyler is our partner, by the way. And yeah, sales is hard. Like before YC, we never thought about like we thought sales was easy because we got one of our contracts pretty early on, pretty easily. We were lucky, and now we're figuring out like enterprise, and we're like, damn, this thing is tough. And we just went to our first conference, and we were like running around. We were literally chasing hedge funds. We were like, hey, we were just waiting for them to finish conversation with others, and we just jumped right in. So yeah, like we're just trying to learn how to do enterprise sales, and probably 6 months from now, I would just look back and I would just smile at the kind of stuff we were doing. Yeah.
So how give me a sense, like how much are you guys working? I know you said 16 to 18 hours, but like what does a typical day look like for you as a YC founding team?
I would say we wake up, we work, then we just have some small break. We just watch Netflix and lunch for an hour. Then we just work again.
And then we sleep.
and then we sleep.
That's it.
That's it.
So yeah, you can assume from around
Like
around like 5 a.m. ish to until 11 p.m.
11
or
p.m.
something like that.
And y'all are locked in.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
like we even missed a couple of optional YC events recently.
Yep.
Because we were like just working. We were actually in Miami last week, just on the conference and stuff. Now we're going to Orlando tomorrow for the SpaceCom. So it's like lots of travel, lots of working, then coming back, then following up all the leads that we accumulated during the conference, then working on the product that those leads wanted. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's super crazy. Yeah.
How much of your roadmap as a team is being directly shifted and changed based on the conversations you're having at these events? Like, how often do you find yourselves saying, oh, we need to add this feature or take this thing out?
I would say every day or
Yep.
every day we have a conversation. People are like, oh, you can just do instead of generate. It's like one of the conversations which was pretty phenomenal yesterday was instead of just delivering images, just give it to us with a Dickerized stock.
Yeah.
That was one of the demands of a hedge fund and stuff like that. So every single day we're working on new models, new products. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we also like finding out new areas that could benefit from the product that we have, like you just mentioned. So real estate, we never thought that real estate would probably benefit from what we already have, but seems like they are very interested in having this kind of technology.
Yeah, and they were pretty emotional on the call as well. Like we are
Yeah.
pretty underserved. You guys have to do it, and we're like, yeah, we'll do that. Let's go. Yeah.
So yeah, almost every day we talk to a new person, we find out, okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. It's completely different from what we've been thinking, and we just like change our direction according to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I would say we are spread out pretty thin right now, and we're trying to narrow down that focus.
Narrow down the focus. Yeah.
How much, and this is the last question I have on this, but how much of narrowing the focus of your product is a result of kind of overlapping needs as you continue to chat with, real estate funds and hedge funds? Like, how often do you find yourself going and seeing multiple features that have some sort of correlation as you kind of dissect what should be in this product and what shouldn't?
Yeah, I think that happens occasionally. Like we work on a wide range of features that we speak to customers, and we're like, damn, those are basically the same features, just have a different name. Like
Yeah.
all this stuff, like the model that we are training can be used by multiple ICPs instead of training different models. So yeah, we just do a little bit of fine tuning maybe for one more use case instead of training it from the bottom up, from the ground. So yeah,
And like you said, so multiple features. So initially, when we were like sort of trying to talk to hedge funds over video calls spread out over months,
yeah,
and they were telling us that okay, we have the imagery that's definitely useful, but we need analytics products built on top of it. And that sort of blew us up because every single fund we talked to had different analytics requirements, and we couldn't validate because we were talking to one fund from that area that wants this product, different person wants different thing. But
Yeah.
this last conference that we went to sort of cleared a lot of things for us.
yeah,
It's because we were able to talk to what about 60, 70 people in 2 days. Since he just like we were running around trying to talk to people from these hedge funds, and it's like in that moment we could start to categorize all of these features. It's like okay, everyone wants this feature that's identifying changes on the ground between two dates. Everyone wants this feature that's identifying this particular thing.
yeah,
So I think
yeah. I would say conferences are underrated. Like this was our first conference as well, and we now love this mode of sales.
quick tip: conference is probably the best area to validate
Yeah,
anything that you
yeah,
want to.
You guys are I love this. This is a breath of fresh air because most founders I chat with, they don't really speak much to the idea that, in this digital age, going to conferences and leveraging boots on the ground and being like able to shake people's hands and for them to find out who you are goes such a long way in like just the overall customer and relationship building process. So it's cool to hear a team that's like, no, we like social media has not really been our focus. It's like we're going to Miami, we're going to Orlando, we're going to all these places where our ICP is, while balancing the batch to make sure we are getting the most customers possible and building the best relationships.
Yeah.
yeah. That's what we thought of surprising as well. Like yeah, that's pretty surprising.
Well, we are going to jump into one of my favorite segments. I call this the Warp Speed Lightning Round. I got to ask on the stream, who do you guys use for your payroll, HR, and compliance?
Gusto.
All right. Well, I'm going to convince you to swap, baby. I'm convincing you to swap to Warp because we're going into the Warp Speed Lightning Round. They're also a YC company, payroll, compliance, and HR that runs itself using AI. In the lightning round, you have 5 questions. Either of you can answer it. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer these 5 rapid lightning round questions. Let me know if you're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Question number 1. What is the most dangerous milestone early stage founders celebrate far too early?
Getting funding, getting a lot of funding.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Question number 2. What startup behavior looks productive, but is actually just procrastination?
Say,
Building before talking to customers.
yep, that's a good one.
Damn, y'all have some good ones, man. Question number 3. What is the most popular startup metric that is mostly vanity? I'm putting you on the
Yeah.
spot.
Again, I would say number of features shipped before talking to customers.
Yeah.
Like
DJ,
keep on
you
adding, and that's not useful.
in agreement,
Yeah.
DJ? Feature shipped?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Question
second,
number
number of commits maybe because people
Yep.
show like whenever I open X, I see folks just showing up like I did 1,000 commits. Dude, that was all your agent.
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean, like, to your point, I agree. I think that's like I think pushing or like feature shipping without talking to customers is overrated. Question number 4. What is the fastest way for a startup to lose momentum?
Um,
I'm putting you on the spot.
uh, taking a break.
I would say yeah.
All righty.
Yeah.
Taking a break longer than 3 days.
Yeah, taking a break.
2
longer than 3
days?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Not all of us can be workaholics, okay? Last question. What is the most uncomfortable truth that most founders avoid until it's too late?
Nobody wants your product
Yeah.
if you have not talked to customers. So it's like you're building stuff without talking to any customers, without validating your idea, and it's like 6 months later you realize that nobody wants what you built.
Yeah, and if no one's is paying for that, like you should probably pivot. That's what we realized that. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. This is random, but I got to ask this question. It's a would you rather. Would you rather raise money too early or pivot too late?
Raise money early.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. We are done. Lightning round completed. Y'all had some very solid questions. I love it. And we're jumping back into a bit more serious topic because I know people are there are going to be people who are like, is this like possible? Why hasn't Google done it? So I'm going to ask the difficult question. When you look at the landscape of all of the players currently in space and you look at the product you're building, why hasn't it been done yet? Like for all these years that there's been orbital observation in space, why has no one never thought, hey, you should probably be able to see what the ground looks like even when it's dark, or we should be able to see beyond cloud cover?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say because everyone was so mostly Google, AI too. All these labs are using self-supervised methods to just build general Earth observation models. Yes, people have tried started to optical models as well. This has been an open area of study for a decade, maybe. But yeah, like everyone was treating this as a computer vision problem without involving any physics till now. We haven't seen any physics incorporated any kind of models. But what we did is we found a way, thanks to Atharva's biomedical exposure, where they were just translating different modalities of how to extract features. Or you can just explain it better.
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, it's been an area of research for a while now,
Mhm.
but I come from an academic community, and I know that people in academia are like, so they keep building awesome stuff, but they're more interested in beating other models on a benchmark, or probably just getting a paper out of that great model that you've already built. So that remains constrained within academia. And the other thing is, the goal there is to get the sort of model out, even if it's like tested on three specific benchmarks and doesn't generalize to the real world. So that's one limitation, is like, as long as you're beating other models on these two benchmark and you have a great model, you can get a paper out of it. Well, let's move on to the next paper now that's done. So that stays in academia, I would say. And the second thing is, most of these providers that you already have, so either SAR providers or optical data providers, I think they've already cracked their business model, so they're happy with sending more satellites into the space to reduce the latency and get images quicker. So they like to treat this as a hardware problem, because that has worked for them so far, right? So they're happy to treat it as a hardware problem. We, on the other end, are like sort of coming in and treating this more as a software problem.
Yeah.
So we are sort of in the middle. We are not providers that are treating this as a hardware problem. We are sort of out of academia because we are bringing this to the real world.
And yeah, like if you ask anyone generating optical from radar, like people thought we were stupid. Like initially when we spoke to folks, they were like, "Are you dumbasses? Like, what are
Yeah.
you trying to do?" Like radar is different. Like if you see radar, it's like all fuzzy images, just
Right.
a little bit of geometries are visible. But we found a way to like extract all these spatial priors, like all the physics, all these geometries of the buildings and stuff like that, and then like treating it as a, I would say, just like sketches and just filling up textures, like a very different model of training that's never been used before. And second thing is, we also found a way to make that happen in like one step. So
Mhm.
so you can think of this like a diffusion model that behaves like a GAN, like it does everything in one step.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say like it has never been tried before. Like yeah, there are papers for different kind of models, but not like this one.
So when you guys like you found this breakthrough product, when you got to the point where you were thinking of customers, you highlighted to me that you guys sell to hedge funds. Can you kind of give me a sense of, and hedge funds, of course, the idea is like, hey, I'm guessing they can try to make money by understanding the weather. Like, let's say you're invested in real estate in a place that's like bound to see, I don't know, more catastrophic weather events over a period. You guys can take historical data that you're gathering because you can see all of this stuff throughout the clouds, throughout like I'm just very curious, like how are hedge funds looking to use the product, and like when did you realize that was the North Star?
Yeah. So we were just speaking to a couple of our mentors from Pioneer Fund, and they just told us like you can maybe generate alpha for hedge funds because they track oil rigs, they track a lot of activity on the ground. A very well-known example is tracking cars.
Hmm.
Like people now can track cars during day. What about night? A lot of activity happens during night, and actually a lot of shipping activity happens during the night, where people do all kind of illegal stuff too, like just trading sanctioned oil, crude oil, sanctioned commodities, and stuff like that. So one of the interesting applications that we have built is called oil. We can actually estimate the amount of oil inside a storage tank from space just by looking at the shadows of the floating roofs. So that is one of the applications that we built. So we can track the production report of oil in real time instead of waiting for the official report to come out.
Yep.
What the? That's actually crazy. So a hedge fund could know whether or not we're in an oil shortage or like like an abundance of oil, and then use that data to trade and potentially make billions of dollars.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's just one of the use cases in very a single commodity.
Yeah. And like you said, tracking cars in parking lots, it's like during the winters, at least in North America, it's pretty dark after 4 p.m. and people are gonna shop around 5, 6 p.m. after they get back from work. How do you see how many cars are in a parking lot? How do you predict Walmart's revenue, for example?
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
So it almost, I mean, it almost any financial segment that involves any sort of movement that is openly not in buildings, you guys can track it.
Yeah. And even we can even track what's under the ground as well. If we talk about specific agricultural commodities like German sugar beet,
Correct.
we can track its health and it's under the ground.
Wait, you can track under the ground too? So you can see like, no way.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
That's absurd. I'm sitting here thinking that like your use cases are almost endless then. Like you can feasibly, it's almost like a great example I think would be like how Starlink has made like Wi-Fi accessible around the world. You're almost making like information, you're making like observable information accessible to anyone at any point in time, like to be able to do whatever, ideally whatever they see fit.
yep.
Yep.
So that's the reason that I told you. Like every single day, we learn something new, and we're like, oh, damn! Now we gotta put one more feature down the line, or just make a overlapping product. Yeah.
Hence I said like we're spread really thin now, and we're like trying to narrow down now.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, like, do you have any competitors like at this current moment that you guys are like looking at that are like, okay, this is like an active, like we're fighting against this team? Or is it more so just like, hey, there's enough blue area or there's enough like green field in space to where like we're not really fighting anyone. We're kind of like just joining the wave of companies that are creating what the new information age will look like.
I would say if you talk about competitors, we don't have any software competitors right now who do SAR to optical translation like our models, but we have physical competitors like SAR providers, or you can say optical providers, who have this approach of sending more satellites and just getting the highest probability of getting a cloud-free image. But that's just not very efficient, as we can do it definitely. Yeah, instead of just relying on probability.
This is kind of nuts. I'm like, damn, the oil thing is just like mind blowing. So like you could even, I mean, all the way down to you could see if like ships are mobilizing. You could have spotted all the ships mobilizing in Venezuela or in front of Venezuela, the whole Caribbean area in advance, and been like, okay, well, I'm gonna go bet on Polymarket that like there's going to be an invasion because I don't know 100,000 like 100,000 1,000 warships heading towards Venezuela, whatever the number is. Like you have like, it's like you have all knowing information of anything that's happening around the globe that is movement based and visible by a satellite.
Exactly, we can do that. Like even if So like these kind of ships have these thing called AIS, which is like GPS for ships. They just turn that off and do all kind of activities. We call them ghost vessels. You should have heard of that on the news as well. I would not say the exact name, but yeah, like we can track ghost vessels going around any part of the ocean, pretty much. Yeah, in real time.
And yeah, I mean, we can provide that capability to anyone who buys it. Is like as long as you have this R data, we can
Yeah,
just pass it to our model and understand.
just run your CV pipelines on top of it. Yeah.
What you guys are building is diabolical. Like, this could be. I mean, like I said, the use cases are endless. I'm so intrigued right now.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Which is why it's sort of important it gets into the right hands.
I mean, I can only imagine. Like, I mean, we don't want fucking. We don't want the random leader of some dictator-based country getting his hands on this sort of information. But damn, like, you guys need to be protected. This could be a national treasure.
Yep, probably.
All right. I digress. I don't want you to give me any of the secret sauce. I'll just wait for the Series D announcement where you guys are raising at like a $5 billion valuation. But before that, you guys, I have to take you to the advice segment because you're building an intriguing company, no doubt. And what you're building is something that I haven't seen. But in that, you've probably picked up some startup learning. So, I mean, I'd love to just get your advice. Like, if you had to give yourself or give another startup founder advice a year ago, you're trying to figure out what you want to build, how you leave your impact on the world, or even how you get into Y Combinator. Like, what advice would you share?
I would say the advice I would share is talk to your customers because a lot of people are doing it the wrong way. They speak to their friends, like someone they know, and there they get the bias of like that guy would say, yeah, I would buy this $20 a month subscription, but that just gives you a false sense of PMF. So you should talk to customers. Don't just talk, like try to lock them in. Like, will you share your credit card information for this stuff? Like that's the reason I had to pivot from my cursor for GIS stuff because I realized that a lot of folks were, yeah, this thing is cool. And then I was like, can you share your credit card details? And they were like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. No one did. So I had to make that open source. So yeah, first thing is yeah, like do your research thoroughly and like instead of researching start executing. Like that's another thing, like people think about stuff for 6 months and then they execute and they just try to do it perfectly. I would say instead of that, just do everything in a scrappy way. Just build it, experiment, build, experiment. You now have like cursor, verb, all these kind of tools that you can just use to spin up anything like in a day. You just do a 24-hour sprint, you have the product. Just test it out in the market. Doesn't work, just switch. So I would say the only advice is just not to give up. Just keep trying and execute fast. I think yeah, like if you move fast, you can go way ahead of a lot of folks. Yeah.
I have 2 points. One, so like one that we learned very recently is if you are planning on building a feature, first go talk to multiple people about it. At least in enterprises, like you're building something for restaurants, just like talk to one restaurant or two restaurants and then try to build that feature and think that it's gonna work. It's like try to 10 or 15 of them. If they have a common problem, then try to solve that. It's like because I would say early on we spent a lot of time. We were talking to one fund, they wanted a particular feature, and we started building that. And then we talked to the other one, they weren't specifically needing that feature; they needed something else. So we started building that. So it's like we talked to 5 funds, everyone needed different things. We started building that. Only after this conference we realized that okay, now we should start categorizing these features, and these are the like common problems that everyone has. So these are the most important things to build right now. So that saves you a lot of frustration, headache, and time, I would say, and energy, of course. On the other end, it's like, I mean, it sounds very cliche, but it's like whatever you've learned isn't, a
Yeah.
waste of time, I would say. It's like even if you're working on one particular problem and you're stuck at a point, just like try to look back on everything that you've learned in different fields. Maybe you've read a book somewhere, a paper somewhere, or just came across a random article on the internet. Because in my case, we saw that I'm working on satellite imagery, which sounds pretty different from medical images, right? And I've been in medical imaging all my life, I would say. So first CT scans and CT scans, but I mean, I still could get something out of that domain and apply it to what we are currently working on. So it's like I usually put it as, don't forget to look back while you're working on something going forward.
Damn, y'all are dropping gems. I think my favorite part about this conversation is I leave this call with a great sense that everything you guys do at Axion Orbital will be directly in correlation to what somebody is actually looking for. It isn't going to be a, hey, we think this like pie in the sky approach of using our technology to do this obscure thing is going to solve this problem. It's like, okay, we have an assertion or a hypothesis of like what we think we should build. Go talk to 50, 100 people. If you don't have soft commits where money is tied to it, actual revenue in dollars, you shelf it and you build and you go for the next thing. It's like the product is just truly being iterated on based on whether or not somebody will open their wallet and cut a check right then and there. If not, it's not compelling enough for you to give a fuck about.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, we are reaching a much more enlightening, chill part where you don't have to give me any more secret sauce. I know I've been asking a ton. I apologize. But as startup founders who are NYC, I must put you through what we call the ringer. You are going to have to analyze startup pitches and see if you can get 3 rounds correctly playing YC Arena. And I have to put you through this as almost like a rite of passage because every founder we bring on, we make them try to go perfect. They get 3 opportunities to listen to startup pitches, and it's your turn. So let me know. You guys ready?
Ready. Yep. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, really.
All righty. 3 rounds. You can stop me. Important to know. You can stop me at any point in time. If you say stop, I will stop, and then you can guess if you don't think you need the full pitch to be able to guess whether or not. So let's get it going. We got pitch number 1, and all these pitches are from founders who've applied to YC.
Hi, I'm Emily, CEO and co-founder of Clearly AI.
And I'm Joe, CTO and co-founder.
Joe and I met while working on a security review at Amazon. One microservice took over 2 months of paperwork and iteration to complete. So we started asking around. Security engineers across industries and companies were experiencing the same thing. Manual security reviews that were tedious and error-prone, leading to delays in software launches and third-party vendor integrations.
We're tackling this problem by automating security reviews with AI. We're using large language models and retrieval augmented generation to understand your entire tech stack. We check it for security best practices and compliance against your policies. Our dashboard highlights the most critical findings across your org.
And it's not just for internal software. We want to help small SaaS vendors sell to enterprise clients more easily by using Clearly AI across their entire tech stack to get to a sale faster than a vendor security questionnaire. Hi, I'm Emily.
All right.
Yep. Yes.
I think yes, we will accept that.
Oh man. All right. Let's see. Did they get in? Oh my God. You clearly know what you're talking about. What made you pick yes?
Yeah, I think that pretty much did everything. Like they introduced themselves, why were they doing that, like what were they building, what will be the impact. Like they covered every single thing.
Very important is how they actually met, because
Yeah.
it seems like YC puts on a lot of importance about how deep the founder are, how long they've known each other, because a lot of startups just fail because of founder breakups. So they told her how they met, what the problem was, who has the problem, how they're gonna sell, who are the customers. So yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys like that one because they focused on customers. They said they spoke with a lot of people. So you're 1 for 1. Can you get the second one correct? All righty, we're jumping in.
My name is Guillermo, and I'm the founder of Avanzai. After graduating from Cornell Engineering, I spent about 7 years at Bloomberg, first as part of their quant analytics team, and eventually transitioning to becoming a product manager. After that, I spent 2 years as a product manager at a startup called SigTech for quant backtesting. In the last 6 months, I've been speaking to a lot of middle and back office personnel at hedge funds and asset managers. A lot of them want to implement AI internally, but they're having issues integrating the different financial data vendors such as FactSet, S&P, Bloomberg, and they have to depend on their technology team in order to implement these AI agents internally. Avanzai strives to solve both problems. So first, being a no-code tool in which you can create these financial AI agents, and then eventually these users can then pass them off to the technology team who can use our Python SDK in order to implement these AI agents internally across their tech stack. We look forward to hearing back from YC and definitely want to work together towards making this vision come true.
Yeah, I think that's a reject.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think that's
I was thinking the same thing. Like once he said product manager, I was like, all right. Correct. You guys are 2 for 2. Damn, y'all are good. All right, last one. If you go 3 for 3, you need to be VC partners at some point. We got another team here. Last one. Let's see if you can get it correct.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Jenny.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Cole. And we're a group of 4 recent University of Waterloo graduates and the 4 co-founders at Montclair. So in our time there, Jenny and I studied science and business with a biotech specialization.
Jacob and I also have experience in internal and external facing business roles across sales, marketing, logistics, as well as business development at finance, transportation, and pharma tech companies such as Roche.
And Cole and I are mechanical engineers with 4 years of experience in industry, including production level part design, FEA, prototype fabrication, validation, and manufacturing process selection through our internships at companies like Tesla.
And last year, we all fell in love with espresso and wanted to make it at home. But we were quickly overwhelmed by the options, not sure if we needed the features of a $500 or $2,500 machine. There is no machine that you can buy now and upgrade or customize down the line. So we made one.
With our combined expertise and dedication, we are confident that we are the ones to make this a reality. Talk soon, YC. Hey, YC.
Let's see.
reject.
It sounds like they're making an espresso machine.
Yeah, I would say a reject, maybe.
Yep. A reject.
I
Yeah.
felt like them not being in the same room was like, I don't know. It
Yeah,
just,
like,
you know.
yeah, like too much focus. We need to focus on every single one of them individually.
Yeah.
All right, reject. And there you have it.
Nice.
Axion and Orbital goes 3 for 3. You guys are like, I think the last person we had in did 100% too, but we haven't had a lot of people that just get them all correct. It's like sometimes people get stumped up on like 1 or 2, but you guys were spot on. Even getting the first one right, like y'all are cracked high key.
Yeah, we were like,
I mean, yeah, this last one was pretty confusing, but
yeah, I think the other two ones were pretty certain.
yeah.
Well, man, I want to say I appreciate you both, Artharva and DJ, for coming on to the stream. I'm going to be clipping the stream and posting it on LinkedIn, X, various social platforms. But we need to chat more because I love what you're doing. If I can make any investor intros, provide any sort of help or insights, I will definitely do so because I really do like what you're doing. I think it's interesting. And I've had a great time chatting with you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
We love this.
We
session
love this as
too.
well.
We love
Yeah.
chatting with you. I think, yeah, we should definitely, grab a coffee sometime.
Yeah, if you're on
Definitely.
SF, yeah.
I should be back out in SF in a couple of weeks. So I'll hit you up and we'll definitely grab a coffee.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on Vesting. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks for a coffee. If not, I'll see you at demo day.
Gotcha, yeah.
Perfect.
See you.
Take care.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Take care.
Man, those guys were awesome. Chat, they were great. Like, legitimately, just 2 genuinely dope folks. And they're building an industry that's like, dude, I didn't know that was like such a thing. Like, I didn't know I didn't know you could actually do what they're doing and get the information that they're getting. So it's just really cool, man. It was cool having them on the show. And I look forward to meeting them out in person. And I appreciate everyone for popping through in the chat. But yeah, man, there's just some folks that are just building things that like you wouldn't even think about. It's like, oh man, yeah, we found this very niche problem of like, how do we solve problems around cloud cover for satellites? Like, I think you have to have like a certain knowledge acumen to even realize that's a problem, which like most people don't have. What's up, Niam, Mini Mons, Elvis, Abdul? Appreciate you guys for hanging out. But yeah, I think that it's like you have to have a certain knowledge acumen. And in a world where it has gotten so easy to just spin up any company you want, it's cool to run into founders that are like, Yeah, we're building software for something obscure as like satellites in space, right? Like, that's interesting, at least to me. So it was a pleasure to have them on the stream. And of course, you guys know these clips, the videos, all of this stuff will end up on platforms over the next probably 2 days or so. But no, those guys got me hyped. Like, after this, I'm probably going to message them and just be like, yo, like, tell me more. Tell me the things you couldn't say on the stream, because I know it's like you can't talk about everything. Anyone says the one that you were building is for helping them get to the moon. I mean, if I can help them get in touch with some investors, then I feel like my job is done. Like, I want to be the super connector. So yeah, it was awesome, man. It's awesome having them on. And yeah, I'm going to make sure that we get this on platforms, because no shameless plug at all. You guys know we also have recently put vesting, the show, all of the conversations that we have with founders are also going to be on Spotify, Apple, all these platforms. So it is the thing of, if you can't catch the audio, you can always catch, if you can't catch the video, you can always catch the audio. So big thank you, guys. You gotta go follow. Yeah. Go follow and like drop a dope, rate the show, give it 5 stars. We got 2 episodes out. We dropped the episode with Philip we've been getting it's actually funny. We've been getting a lot of really cool space startups, but we dropped the episode over with Philip today. Yesterday we had an episode that went live, probably be 3 episodes a week. So yeah, if you're traveling and you're just trying to get in touch and like figure out like, okay, what are some of the cool early stage startups and the cool early stage founders that are building things, like, feel free. But we're about to drop because I got to go do some clipping. I got to go figure out dinner. We do have some pretty special streams coming up alongside these. So we're going to drop. I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys for popping out. And as always, become the impossible. Take care. Have a great evening.